Greetings to all, we are from Group 10 and today we are going to present about Batu Kawan Berhad. These are our group members. As an introduction, Batu Kawan Berhad or BKB is a company that not only invests but builds the future. BKB established in 1965 and listed on the main market of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad under the sector of plantations since 1971, grown into one of the nation's most respected investment holding companies that are headquartered in Ipoh, Perak. The company operates through four primary segments that are plantation, manufacturing, property development, and investment holdings or others. In plantations, BKB are the backbone behind Kuala Lumpur Kepong Berhad KLK, holding a 47th stake in one of Malaysia's leading plantation companies. From growing oil palms and rubbers, harvesting them and turning them into palm kernels and crude palm oil that can be used as cooking oil in the food industry. BKB stretches from Malaysia including the Kuala Gris and commercial estates and also Sabah to Belitung Island, Kalimantan and Sumatra in Indonesia and even Liberia. Manufacturing, BKB power industry through KLK's Global Aerochemicals presence and through Chemical Company of Malaysia Berhad CCM, the nation's leading name in industrial chemicals. Their operations are situated in Lahad, Perak, Kemaman, Terengganu and Pasir Gudang, Johor, just to name a few. The factories are producing essential materials that support everyday life including chlor-alkali chemicals that can be used to manufacture rubber gloves, polymers and other industrial chemicals such as coagulants used in water treatment. Property development, BKB transform land into vibrant townships like Bandar Seri Coalfields in Sungai Buloh, Selangor and Caledonia in Izzaty, Selangor. And through investment holdings and others, BKB extend their vision even further, investing in Malaysia and as far as Melbourne and Perth in Australia through Carousel Australia Ventures. For instance, BKB invests in residential development project with Botanical and True North in Melbourne.
As we see, this is the categories of non-current asset in Batu Kawan Berhad. The total amount of non-current asset is 21.95 billion and the largest portion is property, plant and equipment with the amount of 13.41 billion and the smallest portion is derivative financial asset with the amount of 460,000. And this is the overview of biological asset in Batu Kawan Berhad. For the fiscal year ended 13 September 2024. Biological assets in accordance with MFRS 141 are initially recognized and measured at fair value less cost to sell, and any gain in fair value is recognized in revenue and the loss in fair value is recognized in expenses. This is the bar chart shows that the categories of biological asset. The biological assets are categorized into unharvested fresh fruit bunches, livestock, and growing crops. The first one is unharvested fresh fruit bunches. FFB consists of agriculture produce on oil palm trees prior to harvest. The second one is livestock. The livestock is include with the cattle and sheep that reflecting their utility in meat produce and wool production. The third one is growing crops, which the amount is measured at fair value and the net change value in fair value with the amount of 28.63 million. The total amount of biological asset in Batu Kawan Berhad is valued at 213.59 million and the highest value is unharvested fresh fruit bunches which is 171.99 million while the lowest is livestock at 5.59 million.
Next is PPE. Batu Kawan Berhad applies MFRS 116 for its accounting treatments for PPE. It initially measures at cost which included purchase price and any directly attributable cost to bring the asset to ready to be used conditions. It measures using cost model which costs less any depreciations or any impairment loss. For measure the depreciation, it's using straight line methods over estimated useful life. At the date of 30 September 2024, Batu Kawan Berhad reported the PPE value at RM 13.41 billion. So according to this bar chart, you can see the largest portion of PPE is the burial ground with the amount of 5.67 billion and the smallest is vehicle which has the amount of 165.18 million. And for the company, the freehold land is not being depreciated because it is unlimited useful life, and for the capital work in process is also not being depreciated because it is not yet ready to be used. As disclosed in the current annual report, with an amount of 22.41 billion, minus 8.37 billion, and minus 267.4 million, and we get a value of PPE which has 13.41 billion.
So next I will explain about how company earns their revenue. So the first is BKB earns revenue by selling products like palm oils, chemicals and also property development. So the revenue is recognized when the control of goods is passed to the customer, such as for the selling product like palm oil and chemicals, the revenue is recorded in time, or we can say that when the product is delivered to customer. One, for the property development, the revenue is recognized over time through the construction progress. So Batu Kawan Berhad also reporting there is no major finances element since our customer pay quickly, and this approach also shows their revenue is fairly and clearly through this.
Next is intangible assets. Batu Kawan Berhad applied MFRS 138 for the accounting treatment of intangible assets. It initially recognized at cost
and subsequently measure at cost less accumulated amortizations and any impairment loss. For the amortization expenses, it is using straight line methods over the estimated useful life. The company always review useful life and residual values and amortizations method at the end of each reporting period to ensure the accuracy. The expenditure is capitalized when it increase the future economy benefits, otherwise it will be expenses to profit or loss. At the date of 30 September 2024, Batu Kawan Berhad reported the intangible assets with the amount of 79.38 million. According to this bar chart, we can see the largest intangible asset is the customer list, which has 31.47 million, and the smallest intangible is the trademark, we have 2.48 million. As disclosed in the current annual reports, with an amount of 204.47 million minus with 117.5 million minus 7.59 million, so we get the intangible assets with amount of 79.38 million. The impairment loss is arise because of the value of customer list is dropped because some customer is cancel contract with the company.
The last one is investment property in accordance with MFRS 140. Investment properties are initially recognized at cost. They are subsequently measured using the cost model, carried at cost, less accumulated depreciation and any impairment losses. The disclosed fair value of investment properties in Note 13 to the financial statement for reference purposes. This is the bar chart that contains categories of investment property. The categories of investment property is freehold and leasehold land, building and asset under construction. On 13 September 2024, investment properties valued at 56.99 million, and the largest portion is 48.48 million, consists of asset under construction, whereas the lowest is 129,000 with associated with the building. According to the current annual report, the carrying amount at 13 September 2024 is 56.99 million.
So next, I'll explain to you guys how about the company manage their future costs through provisions. So as you all know, that provisions is an amount that's set aside for the future costs and expected company to pay. So through this, we can see that Batu Kawan Berhad, following the accounting standard, that provision can be recognized when the future costs can be estimated. So in 2024, Batu Kawan Berhad made a provision for retirement benefits and also environmental restoration costs. But obviously, our company is reporting there is no major legal risk and also there is no contingent liabilities. So this shows that our company is heading ahead and also financially responsible to any future obligations.
Before we dive into the economic environment and how assets are valued, why don't we have a quick look at BKB financial ratio analysis, especially for non-current asset? Since we have been talking about BKB non-current asset all this time, from accounting policies and standard to disclosures. But the question is, do we really understand what it all means? And what more importantly is, what do the ups and downs in non-current asset actually tell us about the company? Now, we begin with the non-current asset turnover ratio, which reflects how efficiently the company uses a long-term asset to generate revenue. This ratio dropped from 1.15 in the year of 2023 to 1.05 in the year of 2024, a decline of 0.10. Although the decrease seems small, it may indicate reduced efficiency, possibly due to the underutilized or over-invested asset. Next is the capital intensity ratio, which measures how much non-current asset investment is needed to produce its ringgit of revenue. It increased from 0.88 in the year of 2023 to 0.95 in the year of 2024. This suggests the Batu Kawan Berhad has become more capital intensive, potentially pointing to strategic expansion or lower operational efficiency. Finally, the non-current asset to total asset ratio rose slightly from 68.36% to 68.49%, indicating a growing reliance on fixed assets and a shift toward a more asset-heavy structure. So, after looking at the BKB non-current asset financial ratio analysis, you might be wondering, why did the ratio change? What do those increases or decreases actually mean? Did BKB do something to it? To find out more, let's move on to the next part of our presentation.
So this pie chart shows the percentage of distribution of plantation, manufacturing, investment property and also investment holding for both tiers. So in 2024, you can see that manufacturing increased for 3% from 37.3% to 14.3%. And then for plantation decreased from by 1.7% from 37.6% to 35.9%. For investment holding dropped by 1.7% from 16.4% to 14.7%. And then meanwhile, the investment property increased by 0.4% from 8.7% to 9.1%. So next we go to the key of non-current asset. First we have manufacturing. Okay, KLC also operates palm oil mills, rubber estates, refineries, and oleochemical plants, generating steady and diversified revenue streams. The plantation segment contributes the largest portion of Batu Kawan's income, primarily through dividends and share of profit. Okay, so next is plantation. Batu Kawan also owns a 47% equity stake in Kuala Lumpur Kampung Berhad, by KLK, which is the group's most valuable asset segment. KLK managed approximately 300,000 hectares of oil palm plantation across Malaysia, Indonesia, and also Liberia. Okay, in Malaysia alone, KLK owns around 160 hectares, while Indonesia contributes 216 hectares. Liberia adds about 100,000 hectares through its subsidiary, Equatorial Palm Oil. This broad geographical spread reduces regulatory risk and ensures sustainable production. Next, we go to impact of economic factor on asset management and valuation. In 2024, there were no major disposals recorded. For the plantation segment, disposal was unnecessary as it remained the strongest contributor to profits, supported by stable global palm oil demand and ongoing expansion. The manufacturing segment also shown recovery, especially in oleochemicals, making asset disposal unwise during this period. And then similarly, the investment holding segment recorded no disposal as the asset as strategic and long-term in nature. There is no revaluation. There was also no major revaluation carried out in 2024. For plantation, biological assets such as all palm trees are measured at fair value less cost to sell, which is updated annually and not through revaluation reserve. Land and buildings remain under the historical cost model. So in the manufacturing segment, assets like factories and equipment continue to be recorded at historical cost less depreciation with no significant market appreciation observed. Investment holdings were also written at cost with no revaluation done as they consist of long-term strategic assets. That is a minor revaluation. Batu Kawan Berhad reported a small revaluation gain during the financial period in investment properties. Okay, the value of investment properties increased from 2.72 billion in 2023 to 2.87 billion in 2024, showing a gain of approximately of 0.14 million. The gain came from a fair value adjustment, reflecting a slight improvement in market conditions and rental income potential.
That's all from us. Thank you. 谢谢. Nandri. Terima kasih.